You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm. The following is the previous podcast's recording, but with background music. For those people that don't listen to background music during Sphira, you could listen to the previous podcast. There are people who have a custom not to listen to music during certain parts of the year. Some people do listen to music if it's background music. Some people don't. So this one is going to have background music. Morning. It is May 6th, Friday morning. You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm. We are currently a mere 24 to 48 hours away before a drastic change in the weather pattern. And this time a change in the weather pattern means a permanent change. Permanent change means this is a change that will last for the remainder of the summer season, all the way through August, or until the aftermath of some hurricane develops in August. There's likely going to be no return to the cool weather. No more temperatures, no more daytime highs of 60 degrees for states like Iowa, or at least those types of days will be very few. And if such a day does occur, it would be because of rain. We've had days of 60-degree highs even in the St. Louis area. It's rare, but it's happened where temperatures did not reach 70 degrees even in the month of July. So those things could happen, but in general, it's expected to be warm from now till the end of the season. End of the season. That means all the way through August. That does not include September, but we're including all the way through August. The only thing that could hold temperatures down is rain, or if you're by Lake Michigan, or if this forecast is a bust. So we go ahead and we'll talk about it. We have a couple more cool days left, not only here, but also for the mid-Mississippi Valley, even for the southern states on their madrega, on their level, compared to where they should be for normal. Friday night and Saturday, Friday night especially, will be the final cool night of this winter-spring season. If we were to divide the year into the 6 months potential cool year, 6 months where the year could become cold at any moment, that season comes to an end this Friday night for the areas in Louisiana, and then comes to an end for the St. Louis area. Saturday, Shabbos should be the final last day, and Sunday, the final last day for here in the Chicago area and for Des Moines, Iowa. We have an upper-level ridge that's going to build into the region rapidly. That's starting on Saturday late afternoon into Saturday evening, Motzei Shabbos. The warm-up, however, starts a little bit gradual in the beginning. The upper-level ridge is rapid, but the warm-up starts off gradual. We see winds from the northeast on Saturday Shabbos. Abundant sunshine will help boost those temperatures to 70 degrees in the St. Louis area, 60 degrees in the Chicago area. Then we have the winds come around and become more towards the south. For basically, really not just basically, it's the entire week next week. We're going to be under the influence of an upper-level ridge for the entire week. This means we'll be in a hot and humid air mass the entire week. The definition of hot and humid here is not the classic definition of what we say it is, like in the St. Louis area in July, where the heat index of 100 degrees, or at least an afternoon high of 90 degrees, although that would be happening perhaps for at least 1, 2, or 3 days in the St. Louis area. But we will be under the influence of a flow off of the Gulf of Mexico. We'll be in a summer weather pattern. It's swimming weather, solid swimming weather. According to the places outside the Fahrenheit system, countries that don't use the Fahrenheit system, the entire world except for the United States, many areas have the definition of a heat wave of 30 degrees Celsius for 3 consecutive days or more. 30 degrees Celsius is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. 85 degrees Fahrenheit could probably also qualify. We're going to, the whole week next week, starting Monday onward, Monday through Shabbos, Monday through Saturday, high temperatures, it will focus, let's say, the St. Louis area. It's much easier to deal with St. Louis because there is no lake, but we can include Des Moines, Iowa as well. There's no lake over there either. Temperatures will be above that 30 degrees Celsius threshold, and if they're not, it's only because of a cloud or a thunderstorm that could pop up in the afternoon, which is more likely to happen in Des Moines, Iowa for the first several days than in St. Louis. Through the rest of the week, high temperatures, 30 degrees Celsius or higher. That's mid-80s or higher. Temperatures actually in the St. Louis area for 3 of those days, maybe even 4, will have high temperatures between 90 and 95 degrees, highs in the low 90s let's not say 95, we'll say mid-90s. Highs, generally speaking, probably in the low 90s. But Lambert Field, the official reporting station in St. Louis, could see afternoon highs in the mid-90s, at least for one of those days. And that day right now looks to be Tuesday. If there is a day where temperatures get into the mid-90s, Tuesday is the highest possibility. In Iowa, it's Wednesday. In Chicago, it's also Tuesday. Chicago has a little bit of a problem for those that love heat. For those that don't like the heat, Chicago is going to be amazing. So those that don't like the heat, it's going to be just amazing here in Chicago with high temperatures in the 80s. The interesting thing about this heat is that usually during heat waves, the winds are from the southwest, especially for Chicago. In this case, the winds are from the southeast, eventually perhaps the south, maybe towards the end from the southwest, but there's going to be an easterly component to the wind. So that's wonderful in terms of creating a complexity in the forecast. No issue for any city except for Chicago, because when you have that easterly component, then you have that lake breeze that develops because the lake is to our east, so it enhances the lake breeze, and the water temperature is 46 degrees. So first of all, the National Weather Service warns that hypothermia could occur in 30 seconds. If you are in the lake, if you go to the lake next week, don't go to the lake because it's dangerous, because the water is very cold. There's potential, especially for our western counties here in the Chicago area, to go into the low 90s, especially Tuesday. That's going to be the bullseye of the heat here in Chicago. In St. Louis, not only are temperatures forecast to be in the low 90s, it's expected to be a widespread low 90s, and dew points, according to the European computer model, whatever version of the European computer model that they have on the windy.com app, whatever version that has, the European computer model is known to be the most accurate. Dew points are forecast in the St. Louis area to be classic, 72 degrees. That's what they are during heat waves. 72, maybe even 73, and at times 74 degrees. Low to mid 70 dew points. The National Weather Service here in Chicago backs that up and says even the Chicago area will be coming very close to 70 degree dew points at times for next week. This warm and humid air stays with all the Midwest for the entire week next week. I haven't looked into Minneapolis, so I don't know about the whole week for Minneapolis, but St. Louis, Chicago, Des Moines, Iowa, and I'm sure Kansas City. I haven't looked into Kansas City and all the places further to the south. Wednesday's peak heating for Iowa, all the way up there, right? Peak heating for St. Louis and Chicago is going to be Tuesday. Temperatures during the peak heating, the warmest day of the week, will likely go into the 90s, at least in some parts of the Chicago area. Des Moines, Iowa, low 90s. St. Louis, low or mid 90s. We actually have some forecasters that feel it's going to be in the upper 90s in the St. Louis area. That's for air temperatures. Dew points in the low 70s. If you have dew points in the low 70s for the St. Louis area, you're talking about heat indices in the upper 90s. The one thing I want to point out over here is that there is a 10-mile-per-hour wind that is forecasted for the St. Louis area. Usually in the summertime, we don't have a 10-mile-per-hour wind. The heat index chart was made for winds which are 5.6 miles an hour, so temperatures actually might not feel like a classic upper 90s heat index. You're going to feel more like a mid-90s heat index. But when you're in the sun, it makes temperatures feel about 14 to 15 degrees warmer, so you're talking about 110. Well, that's really irrelevant, because whatever the local people who live, whatever you're used to when you hear the heat index 98, whatever you're used to that feeling like, it's actually going to feel a little bit cooler than a heat index of 98. We still have the potential for the heat index to hit 100 degrees, especially when you look at the dew point chart and you see that the dew points at some point will be in the mid-70s. The question is, will they be in the mid-70s at the same time that the temperature's in the low 90s? What also has to be taken into consideration is those areas which get into the mid-90s, are they getting into the mid-90s by the dew points lowering? The dew points low. When the dew points lower, it releases energy and the temperatures go up. Why are those places going to be in the mid-90s? If the dew points remain high, even in those locations, then we're really talking about heat advisory criteria for Tuesday. That's a possibility. But either way, realize this. As the National Weather Service in Chicago has pointed out, which it's wonderful they pointed this out, people are looking forward to this warmth. It's only dangerous if heat precautions are not taken. Then it's going to be dangerous. But otherwise, it's just going to be an enjoyable, wonderful experience to finally get the cold season over with for all of these places, except Chicago, where we have to deal with Lake Michigan. There will be lake breezes that come in off the lake, and the temperatures are brutally cold. That's what happens. You have lake water temperature 46 degrees. The air temperature is also 46 degrees, and in fact, the air temperatures are even colder because it really goes by what the temperatures are in the middle of the lake. That's something that people living in West Rogers Park will have to deal with in the mid-afternoon, not the early afternoon, but the mid-afternoon onward. People have to watch out for that cold lake breeze, for sudden drops in temperatures every single day next week, even Tuesday. But if there is a day where it's not going to happen, Tuesday would be the day that it's not going to happen, along with perhaps Sunday. But I'm not sure about Sunday. But anyways, the heat and humidity, dew points of 70 degrees are likely every single day in Des Moines, Iowa for next week starting Monday through Saturday, dew points of 78. There's one day the dew point's 68. If we go by the Celsius system, dew points of 20 degrees Celsius or higher is expected every day, Monday through Saturday. I believe it's starting Monday through Shabbos for next week. The cooler air comes in temperature-wise the following Sunday, but we're still in high dew point air. It's not going to be until Monday. This is 10 days out already. 10 days out, maybe even 11 days out, that's when forecasts finally indicate we're going to see an end to the heat and humidity. Heat and humidity, this is a upper Midwest version of heat and humidity. It's for St. Louisans, when they hear heat and humidity, they're hearing weather like Tuesday's weather. We're not going to be having Tuesday's weather all week next week. As far as I know, it's not going to be low to mid 90s with high humidity, with stuff like that. We'll see highs upper 80s for some of the days with high humidity, and we'll see highs perhaps the final day only in the upper 70s, but high humidity, which remains swimming weather. Upper 70s is generally not swimming weather, but if you have dew points, really high dew points, it remains swimming weather. I've tried it out myself, and it's fine. The only thing is, there's no place to go swimming now because everything's closed before Memorial Day. In regards to thunderstorms, the Chicago area has a good chance for seeing a strong thunderstorm Tuesday night. That might even be true. That might even be true in the St. Louis area as well. The thunderstorm chances increase as we go towards the end of the week and the environment becomes less capped and the ridge starts to weaken. This mid-level ridge, it starts mid-level, upper-level ridge. It starts to weaken, although no one's really sure it's going to weaken. But it seems like it's going to weaken, and that's why those temperatures are going to go down. And we're going to see more clouds, but temperatures will still be summer-like for the rest of the week. So this is it's not really a full week because it starts Monday. The summer weather starts Monday in all of these cities. It's starting Monday. That's when the summer weather's starting. We're going to have beautiful weather Shabbos and Sunday for places not next to Lake Michigan, and almost beautiful even for Lake Michigan, especially with the sunshine. For today, we have a severe thunderstorm risk, severe weather risk going on over in Alabama and Georgia. We also have a risk for a tornado, a very narrow area. This is in northern Virginia. This is southern Virginia and North Carolina, right along the border there. There's a risk for a tornado this afternoon. Those are the places that we have to watch out for. We've had some phenomenal reports of rain over the past couple of days. One county in Oklahoma received 9 inches of rain within just a 3-hour period. We have several tornadoes that have struck down in Oklahoma, and one town got hit by a tornado at least once, possibly twice, possibly 3 times. More investigation is needed in regards to that town. Last night we had plenty of severe thunderstorms, not tornadoes as far as I know last night. Tomorrow really would be the final day of this severe weather. We still have a severe weather risk for tomorrow. Then on Sunday, any severe weather moves over to the plain. It moves over to the northern plains, upper Midwest. That's where these storm systems are going to be going. That's where the active pattern continues by the Dakotas once again. Those areas, that's where the low pressure systems are going. And also on the East Coast, we have action taking place over there from a low pressure system that just won't move. It just won't move. In fact, it's moving so slow, it's starting to go backwards already. Especially by midweek, it's going to start to go backwards and interfere with our high pressure ridge. You have to realize this is not a normal heat wave. A normal heat wave has a Bermuda high backing it up. A normal heat wave, it starts in June, and it's more likely to just continue. So this is an end to the cold season, not necessarily permanent summer heat. But we are talking about a week of summer heat and an end to the cold season. According to that, if that is true, we will not have that May 11th. And I don't really think it's a blackberry winter. I have the berry wrong. I have the plant wrong, the bush wrong. But it's a May 11th winter that comes every year. Cold air comes out of Canada, and it's the final cold blast of the season. And it doesn't seem to be in the forecast right now. The question is, what's going to happen after Sunday? After that Sunday, a week from Sunday, cooler air is coming in, a cold front coming in. Could it be that at that point we're going to experience a final blast of unseasonably cold air? Meteorologists going all the way, reading all the way from Louisiana to Des Moines, Iowa, are forecasting a no return. Cold air is not coming back. So, will we see it? Of course, their definition of cold air means high temperatures will no longer be in the 50s. They'll be at least 60 degrees or higher. That's the Des Moines, Iowa definition. The St. Louis version of that is more likely 70 degrees or higher. Or if you use the Celsius system, 20 degrees Celsius or higher, 68 degrees or higher for the remainder of the spring and summer season going all the way through August. This does not include September. Hey, thank you for listening. I wish everyone a good day. Have a great weekend. Have a wonderful Shabbos. There's going to be music on right now, so keep that in mind for those that don't listen to music. That song was called Balkan Parade. It's put out by Stationary Sign. All this music comes from, I think it's Epidemic Sound, or royalty free on Epidemic Sound. Thank you for listening. A good night of Shabbos Kodesh to everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.